The city was alive with the hum of traffic, the honking of horns, the faint chatter of voices, yet it felt like there was something buried deep under all the noise. Officer Jameson J. Wells sat in his unmarked patrol car, parked on the corner of St. Mark's District. The night was young, but the weight of the community's unrest seemed to hang in the air. His eyes flicked over the familiar street corners, the faces passing by. This was home. He knew everyone here. And yet, over the years, the distance between the police and the community had grown wider. The cracks had deepened, and it felt like there was no way to repair them anymore. Jay hadn't always felt like an outsider. Growing up here, the streets had felt like an extension of himself. His mother had been a teacher at the local school. His father had worked at the corner market. It had been a simpler time, a time when police were seen as protectors, not invaders. But tonight, everything felt different. His radio buzzed, pulling him out of his thoughts. "Dispatcher," over the radio, calm but urgent. "Unit 9, we've got a report of a possible robbery in progress at the corner market. Proceed with caution." Jay's hand tightened around the wheel, and his heart quickened. He had a soft spot for that market. Mr. Thompson, the owner, was an old family friend. He had seen Jay grow up. That store was more than just a place to buy groceries. It was the heart of the community. He wasn't about to let it become another casualty in the ongoing war between the police and the people they were meant to protect. "Jay," into the radio, voice firm but controlled, "Unit 9, en route." As he turned the corner and accelerated, Jay's eyes darted to the street signs, the familiar landmarks of the neighborhood, now overshadowed by the tensions that had been brewing for years. The protests, the riots, the growing feeling that the community no longer trusted the people who were supposed to keep them safe. Jay had always tried to be different, to be a bridge, but it was becoming harder. Every day, the divide felt bigger. Every day, his connection to the people here seemed to slip further from his grasp. The corner market was in sight now, its neon sign flickering in the distance. The air was thick with anticipation as Jay parked a block away, his mind racing through the possible scenarios. A robbery? Or something worse? He stepped out of the car, moving toward the market on foot. The street was unusually quiet, save for the low hum of the evening breeze. The closer he got, the more his gut churned. There was something about this situation that didn't feel right. He could hear voices now, loud, angry shouts coming from the direction of the market. His instincts told him that this wasn't just another robbery. This was something deeper, something darker. When he reached the front of the store, he saw the flashing lights of other patrol cars. Officers were gathered in front, blocking the entrance. The usual tension was in the air, an unsettling mix of fear and distrust. As Jay moved closer, he spotted Officer Kelly Barnes, a young rookie who had only been with the department for a few months. She was standing by the front door, her hand hovering nervously over her gun. The fear in her eyes was unmistakable. Jay, approaching calmly. "Barnes, what's the situation?" Barnes, nervously, voice shaky. I don't know, Jay. The crowd's getting rowdy. They're yelling at us. They won't back off, and we don't know if the suspect is still inside. It's escalating fast." Jay could feel his own anxiety rising. He knew that once a crowd like this got out of control, it was nearly impossible to calm down. He had seen it happen too many times. The anger, the frustration, it was building to something catastrophic. "Jay," calm but assertive, "stay here. I'll go in." Before she could object, Jay pushed past the officer's standing guard. The tension in the air was thick, as if the very building itself was holding its breath. He took a deep breath and stepped into the market, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. The once bustling space now felt like a graveyard. A few empty shelves lined the walls, and the faint smell of stale produce lingered in the air. The store was eerily quiet, and for a moment, Jay wondered if they had gotten there too late. But then he heard it, a faint sound, a rustling from the back. He followed the noise, his flashlight flicking back and forth, until it landed on a figure crouched in the corner of the storage room. The young man was shaking, his face pale with fear. His hand clutched a gun, his fingers trembling. Jay didn't move for a moment, weighing his options. He could see the desperation in the man's eyes. This wasn't just a criminal trying to make a quick buck. This was someone who was terrified. Jay, softly, keeping his voice calm, put the gun down. "It's over." The man didn't move. His eyes flickered between Jay and the door, as if considering his escape. The gun wavered in his hand. "Man," voice cracking, pleading, I didn't want to do it. I didn't have a choice. They told me. Jay, interrupting, voice steady. Who told you? Who are you working for? Before the man could answer, a loud crash echoed from the front of the store. Jay's heart skipped a beat. More shouting, more chaos. He couldn't afford to stay here much longer. Jay, louder now. Urgent. We need to get out of here. The man glanced toward the door, then back at Jay. His grip on the gun tightened. Jay's hand instinctively hovered over his own weapon, but he kept his composure. Jay, calmly, but with authority, I'm not here to hurt you. But if you don't drop that gun, things are going to get much worse. For both of us. The man hesitated, his eyes darting around the room, as if he were trying to figure out his next move. Jay could see the fear in his eyes, the desperation, but the crowd outside was getting louder. There was no more time to reason with him. Jay took a slow step forward, and finally, the man let the gun fall to the ground. Jay moved quickly, grabbing the young man by the arm and pulling him toward the back door. As they reached the alleyway behind the market, the sound of sirens filled the air, growing louder by the second. The young man pulled away from Jay's grasp, his eyes wild with panic. Jay, firm, trying to regain control. You don't understand. You don't know what's happening. They'll come for me. They'll come for both of us if we don't move now. He could feel the weight of the situation growing heavier with every second. The anger in the community was already on the brink of exploding. They couldn't afford to have another incident, not after what had happened with Officer Daniels a few weeks ago. Jay had seen firsthand how quickly things could spiral out of control. Suddenly, a voice cut through the chaos. Dispatcher, over the radio, static crackling, Unit 9, we have a situation. Backup is needed at the market. The crowd is getting hostile. We need immediate support. Jay looked at the young man in front of him. His face was pale, eyes wide with fear. But there was something else there too. Something Jay had seen before. Something he hadn't wanted to believe. The man wasn't just scared of being caught. He was running from something much worse. Jay, urgent, voice low. Who are you running from? The man hesitated for a moment, before his eyes dropped to the ground, his voice barely a whisper. Broken, I'm not just a robber, man. I'm a witness. To something terrible. They're coming for me, Jay. They'll come for everyone in this neighborhood if they find out what I know. The young man wasn't just a victim. He was a key witness to something much larger, something that threatened to tear the community apart even further. This wasn't about a robbery anymore. It never was. This was about survival. And the truth was something they all needed to face. Just as Jay opened his mouth to ask more questions, the sound of approaching footsteps filled the alley. A car screeched to a halt at the corner, and the unmistakable sound of heavy boots hitting the pavement echoed in the distance. Jay's eyes darted to the corner of the street. He knew who it was. Jay, under his breath, panic rising. No, not now. Not like this. The figure stepped out from the shadows, a man dressed in black, his face hidden behind a mask. And as he drew a gun from his jacket, Jay's heart stopped. Man in black, cold, detached. You've seen too much, Wells. Now you're going to pay the price. Jay reached for his gun, but it was too late. The man was already pointing it directly at him. To be continued.